Hi guys, this is Trimler Carlos. On today's video, I'm gonna give you my review of Kim Possible Season 1, Episode 4. Give me a tea and hot sauce tango with nano zit beans. So here we go, guys. I really love this episode 4 because for the first time we get to see Kim and Ron mostly at school, but also in a familiar place, for the second time. That will eventually become a familiar place where we see Kim and Ron and Rufus hang out, and that of course is the Bueno Nacho. Now in this episode, Kim gets detention by once again, Mr. Barkin, aka also known as Ron's bitter and funny worst enemy, and now Kim's enemy as well. So she gets detention. Now here's the funny thing. According to school social circles or school society circles, cheerleaders don't get detention. Cheerleaders, if they get detention, according to Kim and Bonnie and the rest of the team, excluding Ron, it's a bad look for the team, but it's a bad look for cheerleaders. But Kim got detention from Mr. Barkin because she was running late. She ran late. She didn't make it. She didn't make it to class in time, and Kim was in a hurry trying to get her papers together, and she was missing a page from the paper that she was from her homework paper that she was missing, and she asked Rufus and Ron for their help. But the thing was that Kim's locker computer, where she gets admissions from Wade, was jammed up, and she couldn't print her last paper that she needed for her homework. So Ron, as a good friend, and also Rufus, offered Rufus's tiny naked mole rat body to fit into the computer hole, and tried to fix the jam up of the computer printer. But tragically, to Kim's dismay, instead of fixing the problem, actually all the things that Kim wrote onto that last paper that she needed for her homework got printed got it printed onto Rufus's body, onto Rufus's tiny naked mole rat body. So that's how as she was so Kim was running towards her class with 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 somewhat of her homework, and then Mr. Barkin said, Kim, or possible, you're late, or you didn't make, you're running late. You're running late, and the bell already rings. So with that, with that being said, you will get detention this afternoon. And Ron, and Mr. Barkin addressed Ron too, and he said, Mr. Barkin said to Ron, stop, Bull, this is a new record for you. Three times of being late or running late. The next time, I'm going to get you into detention. So with that being said, guys, Kim was ashamed that a girl like her who is a part of the cheerleading team would get such a punishment like going to detention. But later on in the episode, or a few scenes later, or later on in the episode, Ron was like to Kim, embrace your bad your detention side. Embrace the dark side of being in detention, Kim. You're sure your reputation of being your status as a good cheerleading captain good cheerleader / captain will be intact, but this will add to but being in detention will add to your social school street cred. Meaning, it will give you more name. Will give you more of a moniker than you already have. But again, that was Ron being funny. And of course, Kim was like, No, Ron, I don't want to be in detention. So, when Kim got into detention, she felt like I'm not supposed to be here, like she was supposed to feel, like anyone who's a cheerleader like Kim would feel like. But in turn, she would gain the detention credit that she obviously didn't want, because she quickly her fellow detentionees, fellow detentionees would gravitate towards her and they would call and they would Ron and Ron Ron and Ron and Shigo later on in the episode, or near the end of the episode, would call Kim's fellow detentionees her boys, meaning her crew, or the KDB, Kim's detention boys. But before I get to the end of the episode, now the main focus, or the main dude, the main villain that Kim has to fight off besides the embarrassment and humiliation of being a cheerleader in detention, is of course Dr. Draken and Shigo. Now, Dr. Draken, his new obsession to take over the world, or to help him to take over the world, is this new nanotech, or nanorobotic technology that is inside this tiny nano bug that was made by a scientist, Professor Akari. Now, again, guys, I think I have the professor's name right in English, pronunciation in English, but in Spanish, the pronunciation of this scientist's name is Professor Akari. But you can check me on pronunciation of the scientist's name in English if I said it right. If not, please let me know. But anyway, so Professor Akari, the creator of this, or maker of this nano bug that has this very exclusive and very highly craveable technology for Dr. Draken. So obviously he wants to get. So Dr. Draken wants to get this nanotechnology in his nanobug in his grasp. So as Kim and Ron are trying to find for clues to find who could have taken Professor Akari's nanobug. Professor Akari's lab is deep in the jungle of I want to say Peru. Peru or somewhere there. So when Kim and Ron get to the top of Professor Akari's treehouse lab, Ron and Kim see that he's a he's a he's a bug enthusiast. He's a bug fan. He's obsessed with bugs. But tragically for Ron, this brings up another funny but painful flashback of Camp One Week, where we see young Ron his hair is being attacked and crawled upon by tiny bugs in the cabin, and he's screaming out of terror. I mean, after this, we get back to the current situation. So Kim and Ron are trying to find clues for who could have taken Professor Akari's nanobug. But they don't find anything. But when Dr. Draken and Chigo show up accidentally during Kim's fight with Chigo, accidentally a prototype of Professor Akari's nanobug accidentally attaches itself to Kim's nose, to Kim's face, meaning nose. Now, the next day, Kim is serving her detention week, or is serving a day of detention of her detention week, when she sees that her newly crowned KDB posse or crew are staring at her, and she's like, "Guys, what are you staring at?" And one of her KD boys points out, "Kim, you have a zit or pimple on your nose," and Kim is like, "What?" Kim is like, "What?" And then she takes out her makeup mirror, and you can clearly see, and she sees Professor Akari's nanobug is attached to her face. And the worst thing is the worst thing for Kim, it's not only on her face, but it's beeping. Meaning only one thing. It's out of batteries, or it's about to blow up. And in fact, it's a beeping. It's a blowing up beeping noise. So, with that being said, Rufus, Ron is like checking up on, Ron and Kim had been trying to find a way to take this nanobug off her nose, but to no avail. So that same day that Kim was serving one of her detention days of her detention week. She had come up. Ron had come up with a very, very funny plan to use Rufus as a distraction for the for Mr. Barkin and that way Kim would go get out of detention. But anyway, at the, near at the end or near the end, then we see Professor or Dr. Draken and Shigo flying in her floating tube vehicle, like tubing, like water tubing, hovering vehicle, and Dr. Draken's hover tubing vehicle has this magnetic pulling ray. And to be more specific, Ron and Kim are trying to dodge Dr. Draken's magnetic pulling ray on foot, but on Ron's Vespa. Yes, Vespa. Meanwhile, as this is going on, as Dr. Draken is trying to get rid of Kim and Ron with his magnetic pulling ray from his hovering tubing or hovering water tube to Mr. Barkin gets into his car with Kim's new KDB or Kim's detention boys, and they're pursuing Kim and Ron, who are being chased by Shigo and Dr. Draken's magnetic pulling ray. Then there's only one option. There's only one option for Kim to find a different way to get this nanobot bug off of her nails, and naturally. Naturally, Ron thinks of unnaturally, but still naturally funny. On Ron's part, he thinks he has found a way to get rid of the beeping the beeping, the super beeping nano bug. And he comes to the conclusion, the one unhuman, but the one thing that can destroy anything that is metal or anything that is evil and tiny is Diablo sauce. Yes, Diablo sauce. Buena Nacho's equivalent to hot super hot sauce. So what does Ron do? He dips tango dips. Not like nacho dip, but tango dips Kim, and he opens a packet of super hot and spicy and critically spicy and hot Diablo sauce, and he opens up the packet, and he's like, you're mine now, meaning to the nanobot. And the tension is building. The sauce is falling very slowly, but you can see the funny tension of the moment. But eventually, a big blob of Diablo sauce falls onto the nanobug. Then the nanobug, and this activates the sticky magnetic particles that again, I'm guessing the nanobot bug had the ability to get attached to Kim's nose, and then at the end of the episode, then at the end, the bug was still beeping. So in a very, 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 very Kim move, she decided to throw the beeping nanobug, or in her case, her nanobug bugs it into Dr. Dragon's floating tube, and it blew up. And it was a pretty funny blow up. And again, just like we will see later, just like I will tell you later on in the series, Dr. Dragon every time says, "Not again! You did it again! You did it again! I'm gonna get you, Kimberly Ann Possible!" And she was like, she's like the same, but she's saying the same thing, but she's also being critical, funny critical of Dr. Dragon. So so with that being said, guys, that's how this funny and the tension, this is how. So with that being said, guys, this is how this funny and detentional episode of Kim Possible ends. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Leave a like and let me know what parts of this episode did you like, and did you ever get detention? Get detention, no matter if you were a football player or a cheerleader, just like Kim. So, with that being said, guys, thank you, and once again, leave a like, and bye!